When adversity forces us to explore the limits of the human spirit, we often discover that we're capable of much more than we ever thought possible. I'm William Shatner. Tonight, true stories of hope and inspiration on Rescue 911. We begin early on the morning of May 13th, 1989, in the mountains of Central Oregon, as Jerry Seeley and Andy Van Brocklin set out to scale the face of the North Sister for the first time.
The Three Cascade Mountains are a beautiful set of mountains, but they've claimed quite a few lives over the years.
Experienced mountain climbers generally will not climb any of the glaciers on the North Sister during this time of the year. There's a real danger of avalanches on the mountain.
They chose a route on the spur of the moment without doing research into how to climb it and how to descend it. They'd gotten in over their heads.
Twice as worth it, isn't it?
We went out on a buttress and sat down and ate lunch, and that was incredibly enjoyable. It was just wonderful to sit there. At that point, we were both completely exhausted, and it was very late in the day, and we decided that we wanted to get down as quickly as possible.
They made their way over to a different glacier, which they thought would be less steep and easier to descend.
It's pretty steep, Jim.
I knew that we were going to have a difficult time getting down, whichever way we got down. We decided that Jerry would belay me partway down, which is a technique used so that if I fall, he'll be able to hold me using the rope.
One more.
I put my ice axe in the ice as an anchor, and I prepared to belay Jerry down. However, Jerry yelled down, "I would like to glissade," which is sliding down the ice under control, using his ice axe to slow him.
I'm ready.
I put my hand to my face and drew it away, and it was covered with blood. And my knee kept on coming out of the joint as I tried to stand up on my left leg. We were quite a ways down the mountain, I think about 1,000 feet. I looked over at Jerry and yelled his name and didn't hear anything. He had a huge lump on his forehead, blood coming out of one of his ears and his mouth. His eyes were wide open and staring straight ahead. And I thought, he's going to die very quickly, that there's nothing I can do to save him.
Refusing to give up, Andy made his way down the mountain and walked all night with a dislocated knee to try and find help. At dawn, he flagged down a ride to the Deschutes County Sheriff's Department, where Sergeant Greg Brown was on duty.
Most people that are involved in accidents, if they are not killed immediately during the incident, they will die of hypothermia or exposure. And knowing that here we had an injured person that had spent 17 hours on the side of a glacier, there was a very good possibility that we would not find him alive.
Are you familiar with this area at all?
No.
Okay, this
Mr. Van Brocklin was trying to get us directions, but he was somewhat confused about the location of where his partner was.
I think Collier Glacier.
Jerry had been lying injured on the mountain glacier all night, exposed to freezing temperatures.
Okay, well, his buddy said he left him on a 45-degree slope, so we ought to be able to cruise right up the glacier here and see him.
The airlife crew included flight nurse Jim Monroe.
You see anything at all, Al?
No, not yet.
We flew over the area 3 times and didn't find any sign of him at all.
Man, we should be seeing him by now. Maybe we should go back over to the east side onto the Villard Glacier. They could have climbed up the early morning couloir and then fallen near the top.
Okay, there he is. Look over there in the center of the glacier. That him laying right there?
We spotted the climber, but he wasn't moving at all.
You see any movement on him?
No, I don't see any movement yet.
On the second pass, we saw him move his leg, and so we knew he was alive at that point. When we spotted him, it was around noon, and I knew that there was no place for us to land our helicopter on the glacier except at the foot, which meant that we had to climb up 1,500 feet or so to where he was.
The Deschutes County Search and Rescue Unit was also mobilized to help with the evacuation. Among the volunteers who responded was Caleb Cordell.
I was a high school student when this happened. Myself and a couple other of my schoolmates that were in the search and rescue group, we had all trained with search and rescue on glacier trainings for a couple of years, but this was the first major rescue that we'd gotten to go on.
I think it would be daylight. We're going to be crowding daylight when we get out of here.
Time was of the essence. He had been there 18 hours. We knew just from the time frame and the conditions that the mountains would be in that he wouldn't survive another night. So it was either now or never.
It took me about an hour and a half to get to him.
How you doing? Talk to me. How you doing?
I asked him how he was, and he didn't respond at all. He just kept moaning.
Wake up! Wake up!
His friend, putting him on the sleeping mat and covering him up with the clothing that he did, kept him warm enough overnight that he did survive. I think otherwise he would have been dead.
Those steps good enough, Leonard? Yeah. It's a little late.
It was probably a 50, 55 degree slope, and that's extremely steep. The area had been constantly avalanching 2 to 3 days before, and when one part of a slope avalanches, the rest of the area around it is pretty unstable. The chances of being caught in an avalanche were pretty good.
Yeah. Get his pack off here.
Come over here, Leonard. I'll cut him with this.
Get the C-collar on him.
Okay. How you doing? Okay. Here you go.
We put a cervical collar on him to help secure his neck. And we found his helmet lying there in the snow, and it was just shattered like an eggshell. It was incredible.
Okay.
I thought he could die from his hypothermia before we got back to the hospital. And I was really worried about how cold he was. We loaded him onto the helicopter, started giving him warmed, humidified oxygen in the back of the helicopter to warm his core temperature up. I started a large bore IV on him to give him fluids because I knew he was dehydrated and cold.
Jerry Seeley was airlifted to St. Charles Medical Center, where Dr. John Bell measured his body temperature at only 85 degrees.
When your body temperature drops in the mid-80s, life becomes a crapshoot. People's hearts can stop beating without warning at that point. We decided that the best way to warm this person up was to warm him up externally by putting warm blankets on him and have him breathe in air that's pre-warmed to about 115 degrees.
Jerry was also treated for a neck fracture and a brain contusion.
The first thing I remember was waking up, recognizing that my mother was in the room, and I asked her why I felt so terrible. And she started to cry because apparently this is something they explained to me every time I woke up.
It has been more than 2 years since the accident. Jerry has made a complete recovery.
One of the mistakes we made was that we overestimated our experience, because I think we were both over our heads on this climb. It was harder than we expected, and we didn't get a gentle correction to our error this time. We got a severe reprimand.
I think the thing that saved Jerry's life is that he had a climbing partner with him who thought quickly on his feet and did the correct things. The first thing he realized, he needed to go for help. But before he could leave for help, He took Jerry's clothes and made sure that they were zipped up tight, and he also put Jerry on top of an in-slide pad to further diminish the heat loss into the snow.
I was lucky that they were able to get there as quickly as they did. And I'm lucky that they had the experience and the skills necessary to get me safely off the mountain. Given everything that went wrong, I'm clearly lucky just to be alive.